Summary or something, we did many events anyway.
Check, test.
Call the regular meeting for Tuesday, April 8th of the Lake Worth Beach Community Redevelopment Agency to order. Roll call, please.
Present.
Fairfax,
Here.
Miss Leah Furch, Miss Carla Blockson.
Here.
Please note, Miss Donna Kerner, Mr. Drew Bartlett, and Mr. Daniel Morgan are not present.
Here's Drew.
Here.
Got it?
If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, do we have any additions, deletions, or reordering of our agenda? No? Okay. This time we'll have public comment on non-agenda items. If you'd like to make a public comment, we're going to start with this side of the room first. We will move back and then we will do this side. If there's anyone who would like to make a public comment, please come to the podium on this side. Okay, we're on this side.
That's 3 minutes, right? Just
She's going to time you.
okay, well, I've got my own timers because I have a couple of.
What time is it?
Okay, is it 3 minutes?
3 minutes?
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple, I have a couple.
State your name and address. You got 3 minutes.
Okay,
What time is it?
Jenny Powell, 224 North Palm Way. I'm here tonight, hello, commissioners, or actually board members, I guess, and chair, Ms. Blockson. I want to talk a little bit about parking. I'm not going to launch right into my opposition to the parking garage, but I want to say that we do have a parking management problem in this city. And there's a few of us that, with the Strong Towns group, I'm not sure if you're aware that we have started a chapter in Lake Worth Beach, Strong Towns Lake Worth Beach, trying to identify some issues that maybe we can work on. And this, at a meeting we had the other day, there was some interest expressed for doing a better parking map. I have printed out a parking map for the city of West Palm, and maybe I didn't bring it. We have a parking map. If you look at it online, it's not great. It is GIS based, but it's not great. I also looked at West Palm Beach parking, and that is an interactive map. You can put the address where you're going, and then it pulls up a picture and shows you all the different parking garages that are in the area and the street parking. The metered, all that's metered, as you know. But anyway, there is some impetus to do a better parking map. Wow, that was a minute and a half. A better parking map for the city. And so we would like to work on that. And I wanted to see if there was any discretionary funding or grants that we could get to maybe help with that. I think we could do something pretty simple, a PDF that is, basic to start with, maybe a little bit interactive, kind of like the GIS map that's online now. But anyway, so that's one issue I think we could do a better job at, whether we build the parking garage or not. The other thing I wanted to mention is the P3 best management presentation on March the 31st to the commission. And I did see Ms. Fairfax there. Were you there? Okay. I watched it online. I was there, and then I went home and watched it, and I've watched it a second time. And I think probably you would agree that it's pretty dense. It's pretty complicated. There are a lot of, they talked a lot about risk and liability. And I hope that's something everybody has looked at. And I feel like we need to look at possibly some corrective actions. Commissioner May asked about the project liability rating, and she asked if that had been done. And the presenter made a comment that actually would be a travesty. It's not done all the time, but it needs to be done. Apparently we did do one, or not, we didn't, the developer does that. So, she did ask Commissioner Brown to, I'd like to have a look at it too. And I'd like to actually have something like that done that is an independent analysis. I don't think there's a lot of indicators of success. I realize there's nothing you can do that is going to make it 100% successful.
3 minutes.
But there are things you can do. Thank you. Oh, here's my maps under my yellow folder.
Can you,
No,
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 okay.
no, you cannot. All right. I'm sorry. Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? If you do, please come up. We're happy to listen. Okay, at this time, we're going to look over our minutes for the meeting from March 11th, 2025. If you'd like to make any corrections, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the March 11th, 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now to our action agenda. The first item is item A, CRA commercial grants.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Christopher Brose with the Lake Worth Beach CRA. We have two commercial grant applications or two projects for you tonight to review. Both of them are on the south side of town in the area that the CRA does not typically give grants out to because we haven't had a lot of interest from down there. So the first one is at 1527 Railroad Avenue. If you've seen the pictures or if you've driven by it, you'll see that there's really nothing there. It's just a shell of a building, just four block walls. Last year, the new owners purchased the building and had been working to clean it up and get rid of a lot of the code violations that existed on it prior to purchasing it. They have done so, and they got free and clear from the city, and now they're ready to renovate, basically build out the building. The applicant, Tom Toth, is here to talk about the project. He's going to basically build out the project to make it an office space for his general contracting business or AC business, maybe some extra space left over for commercial or office space as well. His anticipated budget to do the complete renovations is about between $200,000 to $300,000 to do the job, and he's asked for assistance from the CRA using both the interior grant and the commercial facade grant. After reviewing all the documents that he provided, staff is comfortable with providing $75,650 in matching grant funds, split between the facade and interior improvement grant, to be paid after the project is done. He's in the audience today, and he's any questions. He's happy to answer any questions you may have.
Hello, board.
Hi. Want to tell us a little more about your project?
Yeah, actually, AC Lady is my wife. Her name is Esther.
Just state your name for the record.
Thomas Toth, owner of AC Lady. My wife and I own it together. She's actually a licensed air conditioning contractor in the state of Florida. And I'm somewhat of a developer, I guess, at this point. I do own a few properties throughout Palm Beach County and look to acquire more in the future, I hope, especially in the Whispering Palms area down in the south part of the CRA zone. Nice neighbors down there and had a good response from everyone. And they're looking forward to that section being renovated. When we received it, the previous owner had died in 2019 and it fell into disrepair over the last several years. And, we have it pretty cleaned up at this point, but we'd like to continue with the project, put a roof on the building, and we're ready to do that.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, at this time, I'd like a motion.
Pulling up the memo. Hang on. I will, so we have two different grants. So I will move that we award funding to assist the renovations at 1527 Railroad Avenue in the amount of not to exceed 32,200 for the commercial facade grant and not to exceed 43,450 for the interior improvement grant.
I'll second.
Would you like to have any additional discussion, board? Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. All those, oops, I'm sorry. I have to allow for public comment now. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please step up to the dais, to the podium. Huh? No public comment. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye.
Thank you,
Passes
Board.
unanimously.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
Now we're gonna have item B on the action agenda, Madison Terrace. Gonna do that. Okay.
Okay, up next is a project that you've seen already. This is for 821 South Dixie, the Madison Terrace project, which is the affordable housing, senior living, senior facility, senior living facility that's being currently developed at 821 South Dixie. Last year, the city and CRA partnered to give a development incentive to the developer in the amount of $640,000 to help with their matching grant, local matching to tame the tax credits from the state of Florida. After they received that, they began the development process. They received all permits. As I said, they started clearing the property, doing demolition. And as they were clearing the property, they noticed that a lot of the underground infrastructure was not in the condition that could support the new development that will be taking place there, which is going to be about 190 units or 182 units. The developer, New South Residential, represented by Mike Oliver, who's here tonight, came to the CRA to request a grant for public infrastructure funding in the maximum amount to help with the undergrounding of the utilities, or to improve the underground utilities, which is the water and sewer, and any other public infrastructure as well. He's requesting the full amount of $200,000 to be used towards the project. We're recommending to the board to go with that amount with the condition that he begins adding banners, signs, screens to the existing construction fence that's encircling the property right now. That denotes CRA city-sponsored project as well. So Mike is here at the podium to answer any questions, and I'm here to answer any questions just myself. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, it's Mike Oliver with New South Residential. I just wanted to come and see if you guys would support our new request. We greatly appreciate what you did for us previously. It was absolutely necessary to qualify for the funding in 2023. Subsequently, last year in 2024, we submitted another application and extremely luckily received another allocation from Florida Housing. So, when we started this, and I think it was November of 2022, and I made the initial request, we thought it was going to be a one-phase project. It wasn't until September of 2023, nearly a year later, when the city commission approved a PD for 2 phases. And in our business, you have to get a lottery ball. You compete literally inside the county. In the first year, there were 4 applications, and so we had a 25% chance. The second year, it was actually a large county-wide funding goal, which only required the $75,000 commitment from the city, in this case, the CRA. And there were 10 applicants, and we got the best lottery number. So here we have, it could have taken us several years to get both of them done. So thank you very much for your prior support. This project has it's had a lot of challenges. Putting the power lines underground, we've already done that. It had ground soil contamination. We have cleared that with FDEP, so we have a clean site now. And as you may have noticed, we're coming out of the ground. All the footers have been poured and the columns are coming up. The west side of the building is literally 7 feet from the sanitary line. And a few months ago, I thought to myself, we do this soil treatment called vibrocompaction. And a big vibrating machine comes out there, and it goes down about 30 feet. And on the way up, it compacts the soil under the footers. And that's how we get the density to support the whole building. I was concerned that the sanitary sewer may not even make it through this process. And so we videoed it. And what I saw in the video was absolutely astounding. I'm a civil engineer. I've been doing land development for 35 years. I was blown away. And so I sent the video to Vaughn Baker, if you know Vaughn Baker. And she was shocked. And I thought, well, before we build this brand new project over these lines, maybe we can get some help replacing them. And so that's why I'm here. I'll answer any questions you have, and see what we can do.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the project? How many units are the people that are going to live there? When you do think the project will be coming to fruition?
Yeah, sure. So this is low-income housing tax credit. Both of them are separate projects with respect to getting the allocation from the state. Same project from the city's perspective, getting our PD zoning. So the units are 60% of AMI and lower. So it's based on the federal definition, HUD's definition of low-income housing. It is low-income housing. These two buildings are for seniors, 55 and older. Our typical average age is in the late 60s or early 70s. This will have a LIHTC restriction for 50 years. It'll be affordable. We do not set the rent rates. HUD does, and every year they adjust it based on area median income and things of that nature. So it truly is affordable housing. The first phase is approved for 91 units. The second phase is approved for 85. And that was because we were capped at 176 units when we got the PD originally. I don't know if you recall, there was a small lot on the west side on H Street. And for 2 years, we tried to buy that from the gentleman because we were going to have 6 stories and 176 units surrounding him and the construction for 2 years. And finally, he sold to us in December. So now we had to overpay quite a bit for that property, but I think it was worth it. So again, so 176, but with that additional small piece of property, we can get technically 7 or 8 more units, but we're asking for 6. So the PD is being amended. I'm going in front of the P&Z board, I think, early May, and then to the city council. So plus that'll make both buildings identical. We'll save a little bit of money on architecture. Exact same building would be great. If they approve it, we'll have 182 units, and they will be, each building has, let me see, 83 one-bedroom units and 8 efficiencies. And so that's what we're building.
And how soon do you think it would be up and running? And then would the people apply through HUD? And would there be any preferences that we could give to people who live in Lake Worth?
So the first phase is supposed to be complete in May of 2026. The second phase, we hope to close on the second phase in July or August, and we'll see how that goes. We have to find a bank. Most of the banks have already used up all their CRA credits, and not this CRA, but it's federal credits. So we're trying to find an investor partner. We will find one, but I don't know if our intention was to move the crane straight from phase 1 to phase 2 and not have to pay for, it costs like 10 or 15,000 bucks just to get the crane onto the site for mobilization. I don't know if we're going to pull that off, but we'll definitely close by, say, September, October, in which case you can add about 15 or 16 months to that for build time. So first phase, say May of 2026, and then the second phase probably about 12 months later.
Since there's such a need, how do people apply?
So they just call us directly. What happens is about 3 months prior to our CO on phase 1, we'll hang a banner on that fence. It'll be with a phone number and a email address or a website where they can directly contact our property management company.
Okay.
which isn't, we don't own that company. It's a third party. And then it's first come, first serve. So to answer your other question about giving people priority, it's actually not legal for us to do that.
Mhm.
But the way it works is probably 95% of the people will come from Palm Beach County. Most people will come from this direct vicinity, but we can't guarantee they'll all be Lake Worth Beach residents. It's just, but they're the first ones to see the banner because they're here, you know? So it's mostly local, vast majority.
Thank you. And I'm asking these questions for our public that is listening
Yeah.
and that have concerns, because we actually received this information in our backup. And we received the information because we've been talking about this project for a while. But I want people that are listening to understand that this project is coming online, and we're actually going to be doing something for our seniors, you know, because they're the fastest growing homeless population in the country.
Yeah.
You know, so the fact that we're able to take the lead on this is really astounding. But did anyone else have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, do you have a list? It would be nice if, instead of the randomness of just seeing the sign go up and, how construction is, maybe it's not May. Is there any way that they could contact you in advance and get put on some kind of list?
What happens is people's circumstances change even over 6 months. And our property managers run that entire process. Myself and my partners don't have anything to do with it. We want to have an arm's length, situation, because we don't want to be accused of favoritism or anything like that. But what our managers tell us is this: if we start now, people will come in, they'll qualify, and then they may not be qualified 6 or 9 months from now because some income thing changes. And so we have found that 3 months in advance is a long time.
Mhm.
So we really don't have another process that they tell us that they have found that works efficiently. But I mean, the people that are interested, they're going to see the banner go up right away, right? I mean, if they live in Lake Worth Beach, but you guys will see it too. I mean, everyone will see it. I've already gotten some calls from one of the ladies. What's her name? Ramsey. That's right. Joan got us in touch about 60 days ago or something like that. And I had a conversation with her and I told her the same thing. I said, she has a friend. I said, well, Ramsey, you're going to see that day one, you're going to see the banner go up. Call your friend and have her get in touch with the management company.
Okay,
And they can get on the list.
great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So yeah, just to be clear, so what the infrastructure is to put a new sewer line in, right?
And possibly a water line as well.
And the water
They're
line,
all very old stuff.
right? So that's what you found when you went in, is that it's not going to be able to take the capacity because it's in
Yes.
such disrepair.
Certainly the sanitary sewer 100% it really needs to be replaced. It's bad.
So what's the extent of the lateral, like how much pipe?
The sanitary sewer is 400 feet from manhole to manhole.
Gotcha.
Now the northerly manhole, there is something in the packet that kind of shows that. Do you have the packet?
Yes, but it's on my little phone.
Oh, okay. Well, the northerly manhole is actually inside the hotel to the north of us on that site.
Gotcha.
And the southerly manhole is just south of our site. And it is almost exactly 400 feet. It's like 404 feet. And the best thing would be to replace the entire pipe. However, the hotel site was only a 10-foot right of way, that alley.
Right.
And those buildings, we're a little bit concerned about undermining his buildings if we try to replace that section. So we might only go from our northern property line down to the southerly manhole, in which case it would be about 340 or 50 feet. And, we wouldn't spend quite as much money either.
Sure.
But so it's a little bit, I'm not 100% sure, but we'd like to replace the whole thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So did you talk to the utility about replacing it?
Yes. About them replacing it? Yeah, I did.
They said, we'll put it on the
They just
list.
don't have any money. I mean, if you ask Vaughn Baker, she'll say, Mike, I can help you expedite permitting and doing all this stuff, but she just doesn't have the manpower or the funding to do it.
Gotcha. So not for you, but for staff, what's our infrastructure budget? I can't remember what we adopted.
I couldn't
Pop
tell you, I
quiz.
couldn't tell you the total.
Okay.
I can tell you though, that once we do these two grants, we'll only have 30,000 left. But that is not a problem because we really should shut down our grants now anyway, because people are not going to come in unless it's for like a signage grant or something small. People aren't going to get the projects done before we start our next fiscal year anyway.
Okay.
I'm just curious, what is the amount of your financial commitment to this project?
Our these projects are built 100% with low-income housing tax credits provided by the federal government. We as developers don't put any money in, but we borrow about 10%. Florida Housing has extremely strict guidelines on how much money we can borrow. If you go to a typical apartment complex, like 60% of the money is from a bank. We're only allowed to put about 10% in because of borrowed money. Long-term loan, it's actually about a 15-year loan, typically with Wells Fargo. Because our debt service coverage ratio has to be between 1.15 and 1.5. These projects don't cash flow a lot of money like a typical apartment does. And so we're limited. We're just limited. But personally, we don't put any money. We put up personal guarantees on the loan, but we don't pay. None of our money goes. Now, I'll say this: we did buy that house for about 2 times more than it was actually valued at just to make this project better. But yeah, it's just the way the system works with low-income housing tax credits. So that's, yeah.
Okay. Did anyone have any additional questions? And if you'll just step aside, if anyone has a public comment, we'll start on this side. If you have a public comment, please come up to the podium. Okay, is anyone over here would like to make a public comment? Of course you can. Come on up.
Again, Jenny Powell, 224 North Palm Way. From your reactions, I think everybody fully supports this project and hopefully the full amount of grant funding. I remember hearing about this at a commission meeting. I think it's probably been a couple of years ago when it first came before the city commission. And with the low income, and I think I recall the words like super low income or something like that, severely low income. So this is obviously a project I think that should have the highest priority for all of us. So just want you to know that I do support development in our city. And I think this is exactly the kind of project that we should have in many more places. So thank you.
Okay, I think, go ahead.
I have a question. Just in the paper today, I believe it was, there's an article about parking, too much parking. It's called too little housing. And there is a movement. I'm glad to hear Jenny talk about strong towns and the parking management. People are using a lot more common sense now about parking. And I know you already have your project the first phase designed, but do you recall how much parking you've had to allocate for this project per unit?
This project was approved for 0.7 spaces per unit, and typically it's 2.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And is that a Palm Beach County exemption, or is it a Lake Worth?
The city commission approved our PD,
Okay,
and that's how they approved it.
0.7, great.
You know, when you look at our residents being elderly, the managers know who owns a car, what the license plate number is, all this kind of stuff, you know. And we typically have about 0.5 of our residents own a car,
Yeah,
and they rely on public transportation.
much better to put it in housing than parking spaces.
Right.
Yeah,
So
So-
that's the simple answer. for
great.
this project.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to see
just-
how that played out.
Yeah,
for
and
you.
just so you'll know, it's called extremely low income is 10% of our units. That's what she was
Extremely
referring
low.
to, which is about 33% of AMI.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, if there's anyone else?
Pam Triolo Clahane, 410 North Ocean Breeze, Lake Worth Beach. I want to thank you very much for bringing this project, helping to make this project happen. It is long needed in our community. If you think of us back in the days of the towers when that was created, and the necessity for that. Wanted to also just mention when you were talking about parking, because I've been up there and made decisions and saw things, I bought into the whole, people are going to bike more and they're going to walk more, and the whole, streets projects that the county was following. And what we're ending up in is situations like we have at the Mid, with there's not enough parking. Everyone was hoping everyone was going to bike to work and do this. And what happens is it entrenches and goes into the neighborhoods and takes away the parking in front of people's homes on all the side streets if there's not enough parking. We would love the fact that people would bike more and take public transportation more. And I sat on the TPA, formerly the MPO, for many, many years, encouraging people to try to do that, but they're just not doing it. And what we're finding ourselves is not providing enough parking for the housing projects that we did create and are creating. So just keep that in mind as you make your decisions. I read that article too, by the way, and I thought, we're 7 square miles, and people think we're all about, they talk about development this and development that. We're about infill.
Right.
We're built out, and we have to be very strategic by what we do and the choices that we make for the infill that we do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Any board members? Anything other? Any other comments or questions? Okay, we've had a motion, a second, and discussion.
You did.
You need a motion.
David, out of control over there.
It's okay.
There's nothing here. You need a motion.
We were discussing that issue, so it's okay. We'll do our motion now. I need a motion, guys.
I will move that we provide public infrastructure grant funding and the amount not to exceed $200,000 to be allocated towards the cost of replacing critical underground utilities along the 800 block of South Dixie Highway, subject to the condition that the developer installs exterior grade signage and or banners on the existing construction fence containing both the CRA and City of Lake Worth Beach logos or seal within the next 10 days.
I need a second.
Second,
Okay, we've had discussion, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Need to confirm the attorney for 1 second.
All right.
Wow. I have to speak.
It will be fast, I promise.
At this time, we'll have our executive director's report. Joan.
Thank you. One of the things I just wanted to mention is we are running into the exact same problem that Mr. Oliver and his development is running into, and that is that the water and sewer lines are not only old, but very close to the surface. And we're dealing with this right now on Lake and Lucerne because we have the Village Flats project. We're still working our way through that. Hopefully we'll come back to you next month with some kind of plan for that. Unfortunately, Von Baker is the new the water director over at the city, and a lot of the maps that the city has say one thing, but they're really not accurate at all. So yeah, we have a problem of a lot of very old infrastructure and it not being where it's supposed to be. So just remember that because you're going to have another project come relatively soon. In your packet, there is a calendar of Hatch events. There's a lot of really great things coming up here in May and in the summer, so please take a look at that. I also wanted to let you know ahead of time, and this will also help with the parking conversation that we had just a little bit. We're talking to Circuit after we did the poll. It looks like we will be able to expand the service from 12th North to 12th South. It's not going yet, but they're working on it. And when it does, I will let everybody know. So people at this future development will definitely be able to access Circuit. And then last but not least, I had a call today, thanks to Vice Mayor Malaga with Representative Deborah Tendrich and Mike Gillimbardo, who is the Republican who is trying to sunset all of CRAs throughout the state. We had a really good conversation. He was definitely open to amending some of the legislation. He's actually working on an amendment now, and he says he's going to touch base with us again, probably within the next few weeks. So something will definitely be coming down. There'll definitely be changes, but hopefully it won't be too drastic in nature. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we're going to have board member comments.
Jenny, I'm very interested in your Strong Towns group. Can you get in touch with me somehow? I can give you my card. Yeah, it's a great kind of grassroots thing, and I think it's for common sense approach to development. Other than that, thanks. Nothing.
I like the development in the south end. I think these are two cool projects. Really excited for Madison Terrace to come on. Completion May 2026 seems fantastic. I hope everything goes smoothly now that this infrastructure question has gotten resolved. Looks like we have a tech calendar of events. Very cool stuff. I'm flabbergasted that we'll be on our 10th Day of the Dead this November. That it seems like hasn't there been like 3? In any event, great work, Joan and staff. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks. So Joan, I know we had the grant that us and Riviera Beach received, and that is still on.
Yes, actually, I have a call with DC on Monday. That one definitely got funded.
Excellent. Excellent. I know a lot of grants have been pulled, but so that's good to hear because that's important for us. Anyway, thanks for the good meeting. I appreciate it. Back to you, Chair.
Okay. I had an opportunity to tour the Lake Worth Towers. It's been taken over by HUD, and it has been remodeled, and it is just beautiful. And so if you have an opportunity, please go over and see the new Lake Worth Towers. It is just so nice. I'm concerned that they have a lot of people who have been on the waiting list for years and years and years. And so some of them, recently got in after the remodeling, and most of the people there are very, very happy. They have a very nice meeting room, but if you get a chance, please go over. And I'm excited about us doing this project. Now before us, Madison Terrace, I think that not only is the need great, but I'd like to see something done about the parking, because you brought up a good point. Usually, such as when the mid went in, everyone thought the parking situation would kind of take care of itself. I'm hoping that we start working on a citywide parking solution, not just for downtown, but citywide, because there are pockets of the city where people have teenagers and they have a husband and a wife and two teenagers, and there's 4 cars in that house. And yet they're taking up the parking for all of their neighbors. And so we as a city have to look at this and be proactive. And this project is going to be a good thing, because while we say they're seniors and they may not have a car, but they're going to have caregivers, they're going to have family, they're going to have people visiting, for whatever reason. And so we're hopeful that they will all take public transportation. But in the event they don't, I don't want to spill over into that neighborhood, because that neighborhood cannot accommodate it. They already do not have enough parking for the people who actually live there and own homes there. And so to say that it'll work itself out, I hope that we're proactive in looking at this issue as this development comes online, and say, let's make, maybe have a hub for parking, transit parking there, have a station, make it really proactive and easy for the people to use public transportation. And I think if we reached out to the county, maybe they would be willing to do that. But I think that I'm excited about the project, and I'm excited about the things that the staff does. We have a really great staff who works really hard for us, and I do appreciate it. And that's my last comment, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
In a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a nice evening.